around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. GUNSMOKE, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
.20 p.m. We got in right on time, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, the railroad's getting better every month, Chester. Looks like they're going to civilize this prairie yet.
No, I'm glad to hear it.
All right, let's go.
Well, Abilene sure don't change much. Looks about like it did the last time I was here.
Now, we're getting most of the cattle at Dodge now. The boom's leveled off here. Still a rough town, though, I suppose.
You think he'll put up a fight?
I don't know, Chester. He's pretty mean from all reports. He may. We'll try to avoid it, though.
Of course, we're only guessing. Anyway, he might not even be here.
Well, he always heads to Abilene when he gets in trouble. It's his hometown. He'll be here. And one good thing, it's Bill Hickok's town, too. At least we'll have the local sheriff on our side for once.
Yeah. I suppose that's some help.
Some help? I'd rather have Wild Bill along than anybody I know.
I suppose.
Chester, what's the matter with you? You're acting like a man at his own funeral.
Mr. Dillon, I've had an uneasy feeling ever since we left Dodge. Kind of a hunch, you might say.
Ah, it's nonsense. They're going to pick up a killer and take him back for trial. That's all.
Maybe. And maybe not.
Look, Chester, any man who lives by a gun knows down inside that he's going to die by one someday. But if he's got any sense, he keeps from thinking about it. Of course, he can't help getting a hunch now and then. I had 20 of them myself. Mostly wrong. Come on, Chester, let's walk down to the Last Chance and I'll buy you a drink. As a matter of fact, I'll buy us both a drink.
What'll you have, boys?
Rye for me.
Yes, sir.
You can make mine the same.
A bottle of rye and a couple of glasses.
Quite a crowd in here for this time of day.
Yeah. I've been looking around for Wild Bill, but I don't see him.
Suppose the Daggett kid might be in here, Mr. Dillon?
Well, he spent most of his time hanging around the saloons while he was in Dodge.
Here you are, boys. Drink up.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, bartender, do you happen to know a kid around town by the name of...
Who, mister?
What? Oh, never mind. Well, he's here, Chester. Down there at the end of the bar.
Yeah, that's him, all right. Well, sir, Mr. Dillon?
He's what we're here for.
We gonna wait for Mr. Hickok?
No. Come up on his left side, Chester, and watch his gun handle.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
That was the funniest sight you ever seen. Both knocked that scrawny hound dog end over end. First shot fired. Got him right in the back of the...
You're Jack Daggett, aren't you?
That's right, mister. What about it?
My name's Dillon, U.S. Marshal from Dodge. You're under arrest.
You're kind of out of your territory, aren't you?
Marshal's territory's anywhere. I'll take that gun of yours now.
You will, huh? All right.
Drop it. Drop the gun.
Let go of my wrist.
The gun.
Drop nothing.
You heard the marshal. That was easy, Mr. Dillon. A lot easier than what I thought it'd be.
All right, Chester, put the cuffs on him.
Yes.
Seems to me your partner acted a little high-handed there, Marshal.
It does, huh?
Now, he had no call to slug that boy in the head that way.
Would you rather I'd have put a bullet in his belly? Chester saved his life, that's all. He was drawing on me.
Well, now, if you'd come around and seen me before you started anything, you wouldn't have had this trouble. My name is Rourke. I'm the town constable here.
I see.
Young Jack here told me all about that shooting out in Dodge. Said they ganged up on him in a poker game, tried to cheat him. Forced him to shoot his way out.
That's a good story. It's too bad it didn't happen that way. All right, Chester, let's get him on his feet and go find the sheriff.
I reckon you won't be finding him, Marshal.
Why not?
Hickok's up at Topeka. Won't be back for a week or 10 days. Meantime, I'm the law in Abilene.
And I got a favor to ask from you. I'd like to use one of your jail cells until 9 o'clock. That's when the next train leaves for Dodge.
I'm sorry, Marshal. I got no authority to do anything like that.
What difference does that make? If Wild Bill were here, he'd let me do it.
But Wild Bill ain't here.
I see.
A lot of us folks here like to run our own town. We don't like outsiders coming in and taking over. 4 hours till that train leaves, Marshal. I think you're going to find 4 hours is a long time.
Meaning?
This young fella you arrested has got a couple of older brothers. The Daggett boys. You probably never heard of them, but you're going to. They're not going to like this.
I don't care much what they like.
Maybe they'll teach you to care when they hear about this. And they'll hear. Like I said, 4 hours is a long time.
Look, I want you to get this straight. I came here to arrest the killer and take him back to Dodge to stand trial. I got him under arrest now, and I'm going to take him back.
Maybe.
All right, Chester, let's get him out of here. Get hold of his other arm there. Lift him up.
Yes, sir.
Get him out if you want.
Mr. Dillon?
What is it, Chester?
Maybe it was too easy.
Yes, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
We'd like to get a room, please.
Well, I have a very nice one right at the head of the stairs. If you'd care to look at it.
That won't be necessary. We'll only need it for about 4 hours until the train leaves for Dodge.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you'll just sign the register here.
Thank you.
My, your friend seems to have suffered quite an injury.
Yes, sir. He bumped his head.
Oh, really? Well, it's certainly a bad cut just to have had. Boy, that's one of the Daggett boys. Young Jack Daggett.
Yeah, that's right. I got him under arrest for murder. Now, where's the room?
You arrested Jack Daggett? Right here in Abilene?
Yeah. You said the room was up...
And you're planning to keep him here at my hotel for the next 4 hours?
Well, I can't stand out there on the street with him.
Marshal, do you know what's going to happen when the Daggett boys hear about this?
No, but I understand they may not like it very much.
May not like it. I'm sorry, sir, but you cannot stay here. I will not let my hotel be made the scene of a bloody massacre.
Now, just a minute, mister. You've rented me a room. I've signed the register, and I've got the key. I'm going to use that room until 9 o'clock, whether you like it or not.
It's the second door at the top of the stairs.
Thank you. Come on, Daggett. Move.
You heard him, son. Come on.
Take your hands off.
There's just one thing, sir.
Yeah.
It's not a question of your honesty, you understand, but in view of the circumstances, I wonder if you'd mind paying in advance
What time is it, Chester?
It's 6:23, Mr. Dillon.
I thought it was later than that.
Yes, sir, I know. He goes pretty slow when you're waiting for something like this. Yes, sir, I wished it was 9 o'clock. I wished we were leaving on that train right now.
You're not leaving on no train. Not alive.
You got a one-track mind, Daggett.
So have my brothers, Dillon. What they think about all the time is hands off the Daggets. That goes for you or anybody else.
Reckon we ought to stuff a pillow in his mouth, Mr. Dillon?
Might not be a bad idea.
You won't think it's funny when they come around.
But maybe they won't come around. Maybe they decided. Cover the door from the other side, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, who is it?
It's me, sir. The clerk.
What do you want?
It's the Daggett boys. They're across the street at the last chance right now.
And you're hoping I'll go over there instead of waiting for them to come here, huh?
Well,
All right. I'd rather jump them than have it the other way around. Chester, I guess we'll go over and have a talk with him.
What about him?
No, he's cuffed hand and foot to a pretty solid iron bed. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Bet on it.
You ready, Chester?
I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. Dillon.
All right, let's go.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, this Monday night at most of these same stations, be sure to be with us when Lux Radio Theater raises the curtain on its full-hour adaptation of the exciting screenplay Phone Call from a Stranger. Shelley Winters and Gary Merrill recreate their original screen roles in this dramatic thriller about the experiences of a lone survivor of an airplane crash and bringing the tragic news to families of the victims. Remember, it's on Lux Radio Theater this Monday night on CBS Radio. Now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
That must be them, Mr. Dillon. Across the room there.
Yeah, I guess so. They look a lot like Jack. And they look mad. There's quite a crowd around them. Well, Chester, the only way to get it over is to get it started.
Yes, sir. How will we do it, Mr. Dillon?
I haven't got a plan, Chester. Face them down, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, sure did.
You the Daggett brothers?
What if we are?
This is him, Jim. This is a fellow I was...
Shut up, Ork. You've been glad enough to stay out of this so far. Stay out of it now. My name's Dillon, United States Marshal from Dodge City. I got your brother Jack under arrest for murder. You probably heard about it.
Yeah, rumors got around.
I'm taking him out of here on the 9 o'clock train. He's going back to Dodge to stand trial. My guess is he's going to hang. Now, the point is, what are you going to do about it?
Why didn't you wait? We'd have looked you up.
You didn't answer my question.
Still 2 hours and a half till 9 o'clock. I reckon we got plenty of time yet. We'll wait.
Why wait? What's the matter with now?
Would rather wait.
Maybe you're trying to pick up some helpers among this bunch of hangers-on, huh? Well, look at them. Each one trying to sneak behind the man next to him. If you're counting on any help there, you better forget it.
You're pushing your luck, Dillon.
I don't think so. You boys are full of talk, and that's all. You never even intended to start anything.
You're a dirty liar. We're going to do plenty.
Now, don't you move, either one of you. You covering my back, Chester?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll take that gun. Thank you. Yours, too.
Sure. Sure play, Dillon. Where it stands now.
Thank you. Here, Chester. Kick those back onto the tables.
Yes, sir. All right, folks, just leave them lay, please. Don't nobody touch them.
Here, Chester. Now hold on to my gun.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
Now just keep them off my back.
Yes, sir.
You. Come here.
Sure.
You called me a liar, didn't you?
Yeah.
Boy, you cheat, tin whore. You are
I thought you Daggetts were tough.
Hey, watch this.
All right, you. You're next.
I'll wait, Marshal. I'll get to you later.
You're a no-good coward, Daggett. All right, Chester, I'll take my gun back now.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you. All right, boys, the show's over. Unless, of course, one of you'd like to take up where the Daggetts left off. Any one of you still figuring on helping them try to take my prisoner away from me? No? I didn't think so. You're all fine, upright citizens now, huh? A pride and joy to Constable Rourke here.
That's enough, Dillon.
I thought I told you boys the show was over. All right, get out. Go on, get out, all of you. Move!
Marshal, I'd say you overreached yourself there. Stepped past the limits of your authority.
How I enforce the law's my own business. I do things my own way.
The way it'll get you killed someday.
Maybe.
I have to live in this town, Dillon. You don't know these Daggett brothers. If you cross them, you're through. I've seen it happen.
Come on, Chester, let's go.
All right, Mr. Dillon.
What time is it, Chester?
It's 7:45, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, the time's dragging.
Yes, sir. It's still an hour and 15 minutes till that train leaves.
What difference does it make? You're not going to be on it. Neither one of you are.
The way I'm figuring, Jack, we'll all three be on it.
You wait and see. You'll never get to that train. My brothers will take care of you.
I don't seem to be in any hurry about it.
You wait.
I sure do wish I hadn't had such an uneasy hunch about this trip.
Forget it, Chester.
They'll stop you. You just wait.
It's only 8:15. Mr. Dillon seems to be going slower all the time.
Adds up, though. Won't be much longer now.
45 minutes, if the train's on time. And if we're lucky enough to get on it.
Chester, you're wearing yourself out. Why don't you sit down and relax, huh?
I just can't seem to set my mind to it, Mr. Dillon.
No Daggett will ever leave this town wearing handcuffs as long as the other two are alive.
Well, I'd think that's up to them, Jack.
Sure. And they'll take care of it, too.
I swear and declare, Mr. Dillon, I almost wish they would try something and get it over with.
The waiting's always the worst part, Chester.
You find out what the worst part is.
I could slug him, Mr. Dillon.
No, let him talk. Let him talk, Chester. He's only got a few more weeks to do it in.
They'll never hang me. I'll never even stand trial. You wait and see.
Chester?
It's 8:30 exactly, Mr. Dillon.
All right. Let's get started.
A little early, isn't it? Won't take that long to walk from here to the station.
It might if we have trouble.
Yes, sir, I guess it might.
You'll have trouble, don't you worry about that.
Jack, why don't you get on a new subject?
How are we going to take him, Mr. Dillon? Just drag him?
If he wants it that way. Otherwise, he'll walk handcuffed to my left wrist. Keep him covered, Chester. I'll unlock these cuffs and get him loose from the bed.
Yes, sir.
Dillon, if you're smart, you leave me here and run while you still got the chance.
Well, I've never been smart enough to run yet. Stick out your right wrist. All right. On your feet. Come on. You can put your gun away, Chester. Starting now, he's only going where I go. Now, come on, Jack. We got a train to catch.
Thank heaven, gentlemen, you're leaving.
Yeah, we're leaving. And I want to thank you for your wonderful hospitality. I'll be glad to recommend your hotel to anybody who plans to stop over in Abilene.
Oh, I hardly know what to say, Marshal. You simply don't understand. You don't know these Daggett brothers. No offense personally, Jack. I have to live in this town, and I...
Come on, Jack. You boys must run quite a bluff. You got everybody in town jumping sideways.
You'd be smart if you did, Dillon.
Good luck, gentlemen. Best of luck to all of you.
All of us. Well, that's hedging his bet.
But there, Mr. Dillon, not a soul on the street. Quiet as a graveyard.
Yeah. And they're going to make a play, Chester, somewhere between here and the depot. We can count on that.
Yes, sir, I kind of figured they would. Especially after getting beat up over there at the saloon.
Well, they would have anyway. And jumping them like that did one good thing. It scared the pack off. At least we only have to worry about the Daggets, and not a mob.
You think it's a mob by the time...
Now, from here on, you keep your mouth shut. If you don't, so help me, I'll slug you and drag you to the depot. All right, now let's go.
Chester, not a soul. I never thought I'd see the main street of Abilene deserted at this time of night.
Not deserted, Chester. They're inside, behind the shutters. But at least they're staying out of it.
I wonder if coyotes are as lonesome as they sound, Mr. Dillon.
They couldn't be, Chester. Watch that left side up ahead of us, sir. It's pretty dark along there.
Yes, sir. They might jump us from behind.
I don't think so. Too many people watching. They gotta keep up their reputation.
I hope you're right.
Chester, they're at the corner of the bank. Somebody moved.
Across the street, too. In the shadow.
Take the one in the shadow, Chester.
Yes, sir.
There's one down, Chester. The other one's still there in the shadows. Get him if you can. Jack here's ruining my aim.
I'll ruin more. Good for you, Mr. Dillon. You ought to slugged him sooner.
I didn't slug him, Chester. He caught a bullet that was meant for me.
Shot by one of his own brothers. Here, let me unlock those handcuffs, Mr. Dillon.
No time. Here, I'll get him up on my shoulder. All right, let's move in. Now keep firing.
Yes.
Hold it, Chester. I guess we got the other one. Here, let me get him off my shoulder. Get these handcuffs off. Well, there's our prisoner, Jack Daggett. Wanted for murder, killed by his own brother. Let's take a look at the others. Three men dead.
Look down the street there, Mr. Dillon. They're all starting to crawl out of their holes.
Sure. They're all on our side now. Oh, come on, Chester. The train's coming. I gotta get on it and get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Let Rourke clean up this mess. He ought to be good for something. That sounds more lonesome than the coyotes. Gives a man the creeps.
Yes, sir, it sure does.
Well, you were wrong about that hunch of yours, Chester. It wasn't us. Not this time.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Sam Edwards and Barney Phillips, with John Daner, Tom Tully, Larry Dobkin, and Jim Nusser. Parley Bear is Chester. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Tomorrow night, Lionel Barrymore and your Hallmark Playhouse invite you to enjoy another Hollywood cast bringing you another drama in the tradition of this fine program. Every week, your Hallmark Playhouse features Lionel Barrymore as host. Frequently, Mr. Barrymore stars as well. Historic dramas, stories about the human side of patriots, presidents, pioneers, and adaptations from literature. Enjoy them on Hallmark Playhouse over most of these same stations, presented by CBS Radio. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, for thrilling dramas of escape, listen Sunday nights to the CBS Radio Network. And in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with the U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Mr. Dillon, could I give you some more coffee?
Yeah, I guess so. How about you, Chester?
Yes, sir, I believe it will.
Why don't you just leave the coffee pot here on the table, Miss Keller?
Why, sure thing, Marshal. Well, I got some fresh eggs this morning. If you're interested, they were just brought in.
Well, good. Cook us up about a half a dozen of them, huh?
Have them for you right away, Mr. Dillon.
All right.
Eggs. My, I'll swear if Delmonico's ain't getting to be about as fancy as some of them Kansas City restaurants.
Well, that's civilization, Chester. Progress. Another 5 years and Dodge City will be tamed, curried, and bridled.
Seeing's believing, Mr. Dillon.
Well, you'll see it. Both of us will see it. That is, if we live that long.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, gentlemen. You Mr.
Yeah?
Dillon, the marshal here?
Yes, that's right.
Well, I'm sorry to bother you at breakfast, Marshal. My name is Hunter. Ed Hunter.
Mr. Hunter.
I'm a deputy sheriff from Richmond, Virginia. Come into the Santa Fe this morning.
I see. Well, why don't you pull up a chair, Mr. Hunter?
Thank you, sir.
Chester Proudfoot, Mr. Hunter.
Howdy, do. Here's my first trip to the frontier. I find it a rather remarkable experience.
I can imagine. Won't you have some coffee?
I know, thank you. Marshal, I'm here to arrest 2 men who are wanted in Virginia.
No?
Here are the warrants and the orders of extradition. I stopped off for them in Topeka.
Uh-huh. John Allison, Calvin Moore. Both wanted for murder, huh? Do you know these men, Mr. Hunter?
No, sir, I don't.
Well, the names aren't familiar to me. I never heard of them. Have you, Chester?
No, sir, Mr. Dillon.
Well, I have some information that may help. Not much on Allison, I'm afraid. He shot and killed a bank teller at Greenbrier last spring.
Oh?
He's about 30 years old, dark hair and mustache, medium build, an excellent horseman and a confirmed gambler.
Well, that's fine. That narrows it down to about 2/3 of the men in Dodge City.
Well, possibly I can do a bit better in regard to Calvin Moore, Mr. Dillon. Now, he came down to Richmond from the north and set up practice as a medical doctor. He was about 29 at the time. And he ambushed and shot young Roger Beauregard and then left town. That was 17 years ago. Beauregard's been trying to trace him ever since.
I'm afraid that's pretty
Well, I have a
long time.
picture of Moore, photographed.
Oh?
Of course, he was much younger than this.
Oh, sometimes there's still quite a resemblance, even after 17.
Something familiar about that picture, Mr. Dillon?
17 years. He must be somewhere past 45 now, huh? Are you sure that these men are here in Dodge, Mr. Hunter?
Reasonably so. Is there something about that photograph that makes you...
Well, it's too blurred to tell much about it. Besides, he'd be 17 years older.
Yeah, that's true.
I tell you what, Mr. Hunter, suppose you leave the picture and the descriptions with me, and I'll check around town, and I'll keep in touch with you.
All right, thank you, sir. Oh, I wonder if you might suggest a good hotel.
Certainly. Why don't you try the Dodge House? It's the corner of Railroad Avenue at the end of the plaza, the East End. Tell the deacon I sent you.
I thank you again, Mr. Dillon. And I'll be grateful for any help you can give me in this matter.
Yeah, sure. So long. You want to see the photograph, Chester?
Yes, sir, I do. Well, Mr. Dillon, that's...
Yeah.
What are you going to do, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know, Chester. He's my friend. I never asked him anything about his life before he came here. Didn't seem to matter. But now the law says he's a murderer. And I'm part of the law. So now it does matter.
Maybe it's not him.
No, it's him, all right, Chester. You saw it the same as I did. It's Doc.
Work. This is
the first chance I've had this week to clean a few instruments properly. Gunshot wounds. Oh, man. I'll lay odds I'm the only doctor in the United States who makes 3/4 of his living off of gunshot wounds.
That's a rough country, Doc.
Yes, indeed, it's a rough country.
Maybe you ought to have stayed back east.
Yes, see, broken bones, babies, and gunshot wounds. Well, I wouldn't know the first thing about a good civilized case of gout anymore.
What part of the East did you come from, Doc?
See, I went to medical school in Boston. I studied consumption, colic, liver complaints. Never had a case of liver complaint in all the time I've been here, though.
No, I guess that kind of thing is more common down south, around Richmond, Virginia, for instance, huh?
Matt, stop beating around the bush. You've got something on your mind, and it's bothering you.
Look, Doc, a deputy sheriff from Virginia came in on the morning train. He's got a warrant for murder against a man named Calvin Moore. He's got a photograph of Moore taken 17 years ago. Would you like to look at it?
All things are taken from us and become portions and parcels of the dreadful past.
Are you Calvin Moore?
It wasn't murder, Matt. They said it was murder, of course. The Beauregards were an important family.
Would you like to tell me about it?
Oh, not much to tell, Matt. I'd been in practice in Richmond about a year. There was a girl. Beautiful girl. The spirit and the fire and that soft radiance that only Southern girls seem to have. Me, that was so long ago.
I bet in the South myself.
Roger Beauregard and I were both courting this girl. He was a typical Virginia gentleman, hot-headed, used to having his own way. He started threatening me, warning me. I laughed it off. Then one day I was coming back from a case, and I ran into Roger on a country road. He had a pair of dueling pistols, and he challenged me.
What? Well, that's not a crime, Doc. That's self-defense. It's not a crime here anyway.
Well, I tried to talk him out of it, but he was crazy mad. He shoved one of the pistols in my hand, and he pulled back on his horse, and he leveled his gun. I had no choice. We both fired. He missed. I didn't. Self-defense, yes, but there were no witnesses, and I was an outsider, a Yankee.
So you ran for it, is that it?
I ran for it. St. Louis, Virginia City, Montana Territory, the Panhandle, Wichita, Abilene, and Dodge. I changed my name to Charles Adams.
The girl, Doc. What happened to her?
I waited for her in St. Louis. We were married there. 2 months later, she died of typhoid fever.
Well, you never know. No matter how much you figure you understand somebody, you just quite never know.
I can't go back there, man. I've got no defense. I'd mean prison. I'd rot in prison. I won't go back, man.
Now, Doc, look, Hunter is here after 2 prisoners. I got no right to my own rules, to go after one man and keep the other one covered. I always figured that the only kind of law that would work out here is an honest law.
What are you going to do?
Doc, I don't know.
You're late, Matt. I decided you weren't going to stop in tonight.
Is Chester around, Kid?
Yeah, over there by the faro table.
Oh.
Matt, what about this Virginian who's been hanging around for the last 2 days?
Oh, Hunter?
Yeah.
He's a deputy sheriff, got a couple of warrants to serve. Why?
Well, he's been asking questions. Some of the boys are getting a little skittish.
Well, there's no call for it as long as they're not named Allison or Moore.
Are you free now, Miss Kitty, or are you busy?
What's it look like?
Well, I figured maybe he was just killing time. Hiya, Marshal.
Bunko?
Bought you a drink, Kitty. It's over on the bar.
All right. Thanks. Matt, I'll be off in a couple of hours. Stop around.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
I understand you've got a rival lawman in town, Marshal.
Well, there's a deputy here from Virginia, if that's what you mean.
I always figured you were the law here. Is he short in this town, Marshal? Say the word, we'll run him out.
I ever ask you for help, Bunko?
Well, no.
When a man's short in Dodge, I'll run him out.
No offense,
You
Marshal.
keep your own cinch tight. Don't worry about anybody else, huh? I'll see you, Bunko.
I swear I never saw anybody with such bad luck in all my life. My gracious, he ought to swear off Pharaoh and stick to stud.
Oh, Chester.
The old Jethro Keener. He just lost 3 weeks' pay. And Bunko Benson, sitting right there beside him, mind you, picked up $230.
So that's why he's feeling big. Come on, Chester. Let's take a walk. Huh?
Yes, sir. 3 weeks' pay. Mercy, I never saw such luck.
What about Doc, Chester?
He turned in a couple hours ago. That's when I came on over here.
How's he acting?
About as usual. No signs of planning to run out, if that's what you mean, Mr. John. One thing he's doing, though, that he's never done before. He's toting a gun.
Good evening, Marshal.
Oh, hello, Mr. Hunter.
Since you didn't come to me, Mr. Dillon, I've come to you. I'm wondering what progress you've made.
Well, I'm still checking.
Any results at all, Marshal?
Well, I don't have much to go on, you know.
Well, now, Calvin Moore was a doctor by profession. He might still be practicing. I suggest we investigate the local doctors.
Well, that wouldn't take long. We've only got one, Doc Adams.
How long has he been here?
Oh, about 4 years.
How old a man is he?
Late 40s, I imagine. But he doesn't show much resemblance to that photograph you gave me.
Well, maybe you're too used to him to notice the resemblance.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd like to look him over myself, Marshal.
Well, he's pretty busy out on calls most of the time, and...
Not all the time.
No, not all the time. All right, Mr. Hunter, I'll bring him around.
That's funny, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, he should have answered by now. Well, we're wasting our time, Chester. He's gone.
Well, now, he might have got called out on a case.
Yeah, I know, but I don't...
Hey, what?
that was across the plaza, down toward the Dodge House. Come on, Chester.
Somebody sure is stirring up the smoke.
Yeah, it's across the street. Edge of the railroad yards, I think.
Is that you, Marshal?
Yeah. What happened, Mr. Hunter?
Somebody tried to kill me. I started into the hotel and they fired from the dock.
Yeah, I fired back, but he got away. You, get a good look at him?
Oh, no, I just saw the flashes.
Now, this is an easy town to get killed in, Mr. Hunter.
So it seems. About that doctor, Marshal. You didn't bring him around.
Well, he's out on call.
Think I want to meet him more than ever now.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, there's a world of wonderful entertainment awaiting you every weekday in the daytime with CBS Radio's roster of wonderful dramatic serials. This Monday, listen in. And now, for the second act of Gunsmoke.
What time is it, Chester?
2:15 a.m., Mr. Dillon.
Yeah.
I sure hope we don't have to spend the whole night waiting here. I don't see how Doc puts up with the smell of all this medicine.
He's used to it, I guess.
Yeah. I suppose a man can get used to anything except dying. You think it could have been him that fired those shots, Mr. Dillon?
Chester. There's somebody coming. I'll get it.
Doc, Marshal.
Come on in, Bunko. Doc's not here, but he'll probably be... Oh, what happened to your arm?
I got thrown into a barbed wire fence.
Here, let's have a look at it, huh?
No. It's all right.
A gunshot wound.
All right, hold it, both of you.
Well, is that the same gun you tried to kill Hunter with, Bunko?
Stay where you are, Marshal.
Yeah. Around 30 years old, dark hair, mustache, medium build, excellent horseman, confirmed gambler. Wanted for murder. John Allison. Alias Bunko Benson. Am I right, Bunko?
He's not taking it back there. You stay where you are, Dillon.
Now, don't be a fool, Bunko. Put away the gun.
Stay back. I'm warning you. Bunko,
All right, Chester, let's get him over to the jail.
Just hold still now, Bunko. Just one more second. I'll have hold that bullet now, and then we'll just... there. Now, add that one to your collection, Matt.
Well, I'll make Hunter a present of it. It wasn't bad shooting to be firing in the dark at a gun flash.
He'll never get me back to Virginia. Now, hold still, Bunko. Don't expect a man to tie a bandage with your arm waving around like a mare's tail in fly time. Say, how'd you know he'd come to my office, man?
I didn't, Doc. We were waiting for you.
Oh, I see. There we are. No. That ought to stop the bleeding. And don't loosen it up any. And you'll live to hang yet. Don't worry about my hanging, Doc. I'll outlive you. Well, in view of the circumstances, I'd say the odds are about even. Well, Matt, shall we adjourn to the front office?
Yeah, come on, Doc. Lock the cell, will you, Chester?
Yes. Well, I turned in at 10 o'clock tonight. I got 1 hour's sleep. They called me over to Mrs. Behan's. She thought her baby was on the way. False alarm, of course. Usually is the first time. And I got back and I came straight over here.
Doc, you were wearing a gun earlier today. What'd you do with it?
Oh, I put it back in the drawer where it belonged. I realized I was acting like a fool. Was that where you were waiting in my office? Somebody tried to kill Hunter, and you thought...
Look, Doc, I've tried to think of some way out of this. A way out for both of us. I got one man under arrest back there now, and I can't rightly set myself up as a judge and free the other man. I'd even hoped you'd cut and run for it. You'd get away if you did, you know. Hunter doesn't know the country.
I've been running for 17 years, Matt, and it's still caught up with me. I'm too old to run any farther. What are you going to do?
I'm a lawman, Doc, right or wrong.
Well, then I guess I'm under arrest, huh?
No, I didn't say that. I just...
Doc Adams here, there's a... Oh, there you are, Doc.
Yes, what's the trouble?
A fellow over in the railroad yards asleep on the track is drunk, I guess. They were switching cars. You better come, Doc. He's awful bad.
Mr. Dillon. That ought to be enough.
Good, Chester. You ready, Doc?
You're ready as I ever be.
All right, let's go then. He said near the loading pens down this way, I guess.
Yes, sir. It looks like some lights over there. People around.
Marshal, is that you?
Yeah. Oh, Hunter. I thought you went to bed hours ago.
I'm a light sleeper, Mr. Dillon. I heard there's an accident over in the yards. Thought it might give me a chance to meet your local doctor.
Well, I guess you can meet him right now if you want to. Doc, this is Ed Hunter. Doc Adams.
How do you do, sir?
Mr. Hunter?
I got one of your prisoners locked up, Mr. Hunter, John Allison. Known here as Bunko Benson.
Good.
I just found out he's the man who tried to kill you tonight. He caught one of your bullets in his arm.
Oh, I see. Why, then it's one down and one to go. Just Calvin Moore. Dr. Calvin Moore.
This is no time to stand around making chin music. I'm sorry,
Well,
Hunter.
that's quite all right, Marshal. I'll go with you.
Will you pardon us, please? All right, will you move back and let us through here, please? Here, Doc, this way.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Matt.
Please stand back now, will you? Give Doc a chance to
Yes,
work.
please, if you please, just stand there. That is right. Well, we'll do what we can. Come on.
That man who's hurt, Marshal. Who is he?
Just a drifter. Been around Dodge a couple of years. Calls himself Texas Joe. No friends or family. Nobody knows where he came from. It's the usual story.
Easy now, Tex. We'll have you fixed up here in just a couple of shakes.
Is that you, Doc?
That's right.
I told him, get you, be all right if you got here.
Why, sure, it'll be all right. You just lie still now.
Certainly has to work under primitive conditions.
Doc? Yeah. Chester, will you get those lanterns going and give Doc some more light?
Yes, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, he's the only real doctor this side of Abilene.
Dillon? Is there anything I can do to help?
I guess not, Miss Kelly. Thanks anyway.
Poor old Tex. Why, he stopped in the restaurant not more than 4 hours ago. I fixed him a meal.
You never know.
Well, Doc can pull him through if anybody can.
Sure he can.
Put one of those lanterns on the other side there, Chester. Yes,
You seem to have a lot of faith in this Dr. Adams.
They've got reason to, Mr. Hunter.
Matt, could you give me a hand here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure, Doc.
Lift his head up just a little bit there, Matt.
Yeah, all right.
Not much of a chance. All I can do is make him comfortable.
Marshal Dillon,
Now, don't try to talk, Texie. You're going to be all right.
you've been decent with me, Marshal. Just a bum, but you treated me square. You and Doc, only friends I got.
Sure, Tex.
I got one more favor to ask. Could someone read me some scripture?
Oh, Tex, I just don't recall anything.
Marshal, I know some.
Mrs. Kelly, I got it.
I can hear. Please.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters.
Mrs. Kelly.
He restoreth my soul.
Miss Kelly, I think that's enough.
Poor soul.
Well, you can't win them all, I guess.
No, you can't win them all, Doc.
Well, Doctor, as the only physician here, I suppose you also function as coroner.
That's right.
This man will be buried in the name of Texas Joe.
Don't you worry about that. Boot Hill is full of men buried under nicknames. In this country, we...
Doc! Doc, I just came to... Oh.
What, Kitty?
Oh, Doc, I've been sitting up with Mrs. B, and you left too soon. She needs you over there right away.
Well, then it wasn't a false alarm.
No.
All right, Kitty, I'll be there just as quick as I...
can, but... Well, as soon as I...
Kitty, you go on back over and do what you can for her, huh? Doc will be along.
All right, Matt. You'd better hurry.
Well, Mr. Hunter,
Gentlemen, this seems to have been my lucky night. Both my fugitives located within an hour of each other.
I guess there's nothing I
One
can
of
do.
them safely in jail and one of them dead.
What?
Didn't you notice the resemblance, Marshal? That Texas Joe there, he's obviously the man in the photograph. I saw it immediately.
Well, Mr.
I hope
Hunter,
you'll take all the necessary steps to see that he's buried under his real name, Calvin Moore. His death, of course, closes the case, and I'll be leaving for Virginia with my other prisoner tomorrow.
Well, Mr. Hunter, I just don't know what to say.
Now, I'd say it's no time to stand around making chin music, Dr. Adams. You have a patient waiting, and this town seems to depend on you.
Well, of course, but...
Hey, you got work to do, Doc. And, Doc, make sure it's a boy, huh?
Well, I'll do my darndest, Matt. Yeah. Well, good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Doc.
Good night, Doc.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, Lou Krugman, Paul Dubov, and Vivi Janis. Parley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and a spell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad, the transcribed story of the violence that moved west with young America, the story of a man who moved with it, Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Mr. Jackson, dry as a bone. Our last hope of water for the herd.
Not quite, Pecos. Cottonwood Pond is just over the rise ahead of us.
Well, it may be dry, too. Bet they haven't had a rain on the prairie for 6 months.
It won't be dry. I've been bringing cattle up here to Dodge City for 12 years. Drought or no drought, the ponds always had water.
It better have. We're losing 15 head an hour now. We can't push them much further.
There'll be water. With luck, if the railroad's got the cars for us, we can start loading this afternoon. By this time...
Hey, Sounds like the boys up ahead run into something.
Yeah, come on. There's a pond, Baker. Plenty of water.
Yeah, I guess you were right.
Wonder why the herd's piling up. They ought to be stampeding for that pond. You think you have to... Hold up, Baker.
A barbed wire fence. Somebody's fenced off the pond. Mr. Jackson, it looks like we've got a fight on our hands.
I don't like it, Doc. It's too quiet. When things get too quiet in Dodge, it always means a blow-up's coming.
Just sit down, Matt. You're just getting yourself a case of nerves. You've been a law officer too long. Shot at too many times. You're getting so you just act like a spooky old horse. You're jumpy and you're gun-shy. Hand me those forceps.
Oh, yeah. You mean this?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Now, you take me, Matt. I don't rant and rail against fate. I just sit back and take what comes.
Yeah, sure, Doc.
Mm-hmm. If I get a patient, fine. I steal him blind. And if I don't, well, I keep my hand in setting a broken leg on a dog. Yeah, that splint ought to hold him. Matter of fact, I could use a fee or two. Not planning to shoot anybody, are you, Matt?
Yeah, if this drought doesn't break, I'm in the mood to shoot myself.
That's a bad one, all right. I don't think I've ever seen the prairie as dry as it is this year.
Oh, there you are, Mr. Dillon.
Well, come on in, Chester.
I've been looking all over for you. We've got trouble, Mr. Dillon.
Huh? Trouble?
Old man Howard just sent a rider in. A trail drive's pulled in from the Big Bend. They're threatening to cut his fences so they can water the cattle at Cottonwood Pond.
Well, there's your blow-up, Matt. A real head-on smash. A thirsty herd against that skinflint Howard. I bet I could get myself a few fees out of this before it's over.
Good old Doc, always hoping for the best, huh? Now, come on, Chester, let's ride out to Cottonwood.
Dyke Howard had no call to fence that pond, Mr. Dillon. There's enough water there for all the trail herds in the next 10 years.
That's on his ranch, Chester. He's got a right to fence his own range.
Got a right, maybe, but no decent rancher would take advantage of it. Howard's mean. Just downright mean.
I think it's more than that, Chester. It's the old business of making $2 grow where $1 grew before. I think Howard figured on something like this when he strung that fence last month. But the trouble is that
Look yonder, Mr. Dillon.
Huh?
Must be 50 or 60 riders facing each other across that fence.
Yeah.
Looks like a couple of armies.
Well, it wouldn't be the first range war that started over water rights. Come on.
Who says so, mister?
I do.
Who are you?
Dillon, U.S. Marshal out of Dodge.
Marshal, that man and his gang are threatening to break through my fences and trespass on my property. I demand the protection of the law.
You'll get it, Howard. You the owner of this herd?
That's right, Marshal. Jack Jackson from the Circle Z spread down in the Big Bend. Maybe you can make this fella see reason. I got a herd of cattle here that's dying like flies for lack of water. Over there, 100 yards is plenty of water. Only this sneaking crook has fenced it in. How about it, Marshal?
Well, it's his land, Jackson. The law gives him the right to fence it.
Law? Right. Everything I got in the world's tied up in that herd. There's 25 trail riders there in the saddle. I can't even pay wages to if I lose these cattle. Does the law uphold pushing a man against the wall and wiping him out?
It wasn't intended to. Howard, why don't you ride up here to the fence and talk, huh?
Sure, Marshal.
No objections at all. My fence, ain't it?
Well, nobody's doubting it. Now, look, is there any reason why you can't get together with this man and let him take that herd in and water it?
I made him an offer. He turned
An offer, $1 a head a day for water, or buy the herd himself for $3 a head.
Those are pretty stiff terms, Howard.
Better than losing everything like he's going to do.
Why, you dirty
All right,
loser.
hold it, both of you. Now, look, if there's any gunslinging starts, I'm going to be in on it, too, you understand? Howard, I just don't understand you. Most people out here on the frontier stick together when trouble starts. They don't kick a man when he's down. And they don't look on a drought or a blizzard as a chance to make a personal cleaning.
Just a minute, Dillon. You call yourself a lawn dodge. All right. Does the law say I can fence in my own land?
It does.
And never mind your opinions, Marshal. All I want out of you is enforcement of the law.
All right, Howard, you'll get it. And that's all you'll get. Jackson, you better have your boys start the herd circling.
This mean you're backing him up, Marshal?
I'm backing up the law, that's all, Jackson.
Then I don't think much of your laws up here.
I only enforce them, I don't make them. Now, you better circle that herd.
I say you better. I'm ordering my boys to shoot the first man or steer that comes through that fence.
Chester, you cover Howard.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dillon.
And if he orders any of his men to fire a shot, kill him.
Be a pleasure, Mr. Dillon.
What's the idea, Marshal?
You wanted the law enforced. All right, you're getting it. But I'm going to do the enforcing, Howard, not you. So if you're smart, you won't give any orders about shooting.
All right, Mr. Dillon, you got a tough job. I guess you're trying to do it fair and square.
Man does what he has to do, Jackson.
I know. It's like with me. That herd of mine beds down without water. Most of them won't get off the ground in the morning. So law or no law, we're going through that fence tonight.
Matt.
Huh? Oh, hello,
What's the
Kate.
matter? Bad liquor or a busted string?
Neither. How are you?
Eager. But you probably noticed that before. Seriously, though, what's wrong?
Plenty. One of the bloodiest little range wars you ever saw is just about to break.
Out of Cottonwood Pond, I heard about it.
Did you hear, too, that I'm back on the wrong side?
Here, pull a stool up to the bar. Harry, a drink for Mr. Dillon.
No, thanks. I can't stay, Kitty. I gotta try to round up some deputies, and try is probably about as far as I'm gonna get. Old Ton will be siding with the Texas boys against Howard. And against me.
Maybe you ought to switch sides, Matt.
Oh, sure, I oughta. I know, but I can't. If I started making my own rules, it'd mean the end of law and order in Dodge City. Yeah, I just can't do it, Kitty. Much as I'd like to.
Well, not for me to say. You're the one who has to decide.
Yeah, Chester. What'd you find out?
Mr. Hightower down at the railroad depot checked clear through to Topeka. They can't get enough cattle cars here to load that herd out before day after tomorrow.
Well, that's that. It's an outside chance anyway. Yeah, I just can't do it, Kitty. Much as I'd like to.
Well, not for me to say. You're the one who has to decide.
Yeah, Chester. What'd you find out?
Mr. Hightower down at the railroad depot checked clear through to Topeka. They can't get enough cattle cars here to load that herd out before day after tomorrow.
Well, that's that. It's an outside chance anyway. I thought we might load them up fast, Kitty, and run them up to Walnut Creek. It's still got a little water in it. But
Matt, there's something wrong with a law that upholds a low-down scheme like this.
Well, what Howard's doing is wrong morally, but it's right legally. I gotta find a legal way to stop him.
I bet a lawyer could find a way of some kind. Too bad this town doesn't have one.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Just the same, Matt.
Yeah, what is it?
My name's Fenton. I'm range boss.
Yeah, I know. You work for Dyke Howard. Well, what's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Howard figures you ought to be arranging to protect his property.
Jackson gave me his word he'd lay off until 9 tonight.
His word, sure. But Mr. Howard figures it'd be a good idea if you deputize his riders.
Fenton, get out.
Oh, wait a second, Mark.
Go on, get up. When I want Howard's advice, I'll ask for it. Now go tell him that.
Well, yeah, but...
Go on. Get up. Move. Deputize his riders. Sure, he'd like that.
Well, it just may come to that, Mr. Dillon. I couldn't get anybody else.
You know, I ought to throw this badge away and go out there and help Jackson cut that fence.
Matt, I still think what you ought to do...
I know. I ought to get a lawyer.
Well,
Kitty, the only lawyer Dodge City ever saw was that young fellow from Boston who died here last year on his way... Hey,
what is it, Matt?
Chester, what happened to those books of his?
Well, nobody never claimed them. They're still in the back of the jail there somewhere.
That's a long shot, but... Kitty, I love you.
Matt.
Come on, Chester, let's find those books. I don't know, Chester. Take a man a year just to learn what these words mean.
Well, I sure can't help you, Mr. Dillon. Looky there. Tort. Replevin. Statutory malfeasance. Why don't they write the laws out in English?
It'd be no work for lawyers, then. The only thing that might do it is this one. I'm not too sure what it means.
Evening, Matt.
Oh, Doc, come on in here, will you?
I figured I'd bring you a little courage for the battle.
What?
Might be snakes out at Cottonwood Pond.
It's very thoughtful.
Yes, sir. Calomel and Irish whiskey. No doctor west of the Mississippi ought to be without him. The calomel's for the woman, you understand?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. Of course, a bottle of Jameson might not cure a patient, but it sure makes him enjoy his illness.
Yeah. Look, Doc, you've been to school. At least I guess you have.
Oh, well, I browsed through a couple.
Well, listen to this now, and tell me what you think about this paragraph right here.
Well, you see, a schedule of territorial ordinances and judicial precedents. Handbook for local administrators. Well, I didn't go to law school, man.
No, but you've read books, and you know big words. Now listen to this. The local administrator or other duly constituted authority in a territorial division is hereby empowered to declare a state of acute emergency in case of riot, rebellion, or any natural catastrophe which threatens the general welfare. Now, Doc, would you say I'm a duly constituted authority, huh?
Well, Dodge City, I guess you're about the only authority.
Yeah, now, would you say this drought we're having is a threat to the general welfare?
Well, I've never seen a worse one, but...
All right, now listen to this.
Yeah?
During the period of such emergency, the officer in charge is authorized to seize, confiscate, allocate, or otherwise administer critical materials and facilities in accordance with the common need and his own discretion.
All right, Matt. Water is a material.
Yeah?
And as far as keeping cattle alive is concerned, Cottonwood Pond is a facility.
That's all I wanted to know.
I don't see how it'll help you, though, Matt. Howard will never stand for it. You're still going to have a pitched battle on your hands.
Maybe so, Doc. But at least I'll be fighting in the way I want to fight. Well, come on, Chester, let's go. It's 8 o'clock.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment, but first, you personally can help to make sure America has an impregnable fence against invaders along all its borders by volunteering as a ground observer to watch the skies for unidentified planes. Men and women from teenage up, write or phone your nearest Civil Defense Center. Now, the second act of Gunsmoke.
It's dark now. Must be pushing 9 o'clock. Hope they don't jump the gun on us, Chester.
I figure Jackson will stick by his word, Mr. Dillon.
If Howard lets him.
You know, we might get a break in this drought if that storm comes this way.
Now, I'd say it's only heat lightning. All thunder, no rain.
Well, if it goes on a few more weeks, this prairie will be dried right down to the
All
nub.
right. Hold it. Pull up them horses.
He's right there by the fence, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, I see it.
Who's there? Well, speak up.
I usually answer bushwhackers with a 6-gun. This is your lucky night, Fenton.
Oh, the marshal. I didn't know.
Where's your boss?
All right here, Dillon. About time you got here. That mob may try to rush the fence any minute now.
Not yet, Howard. I said 9 o'clock. You got 5 minutes yet.
Come on over here, Jackson. I want you to hear this, too.
I kind of wish you'd stayed out of it, Marshal. Rather not have fought against you.
Never mind. Mr. Howard, by the authority vested in me as a U.S. Marshal, and under the territorial laws and ordinances of the United States, I'm hereby declaring a state of acute emergency due to the drought.
What are you talking about, Dillon?
The U.S. Territorial Ordinance Schedule of 1858, Section 721C.
What are you trying to say?
Just this. For the duration of the emergency, I am taking charge of Cottonwood Pond in the name of the United States government. And I'm allocating use of it to Mr. Jackson here to water his herd. Now, if you want to try to make a deal with him, you got 5 minutes. Before I cut the wire and open the fence.
I've never bought water before. So I'll give you 10 cents a head, Howard. How about it?
I'll see you dead first. And I'll be struck dead myself before I see one head of your stock onto my property. Dillon, I don't know what's behind this move. Maybe you've sold out, made a deal of your own.
Easy, Howard.
If not that, then you've lost your mind.
Your 5 minutes are running out now. What are you going to do?
Fight! What do you think I'm going to do?
Going to resist the law?
You call it the law, I don't. Dillon, I'm giving my boys orders to shoot any man who lays a hand on this fence. And that goes for you.
Listen to me, Howard. You got a chance to do something that costs you nothing and means life or death to somebody else. And you're refusing to do it. Well, I'm sorry to see it that way. But in any case, this herd gets water.
Maybe they will. All right, boys, you heard it. Keep that fence covered. If they want to fight, they'll get one.
Jackson, I guess I'm going to need some deputies.
Well, I got 25 men here, Marshal. They're yours if you want them.
All right, boys. Will you all raise your right hands? Do you swear to uphold the Constitution, ordinances, and bylaws of the United States to the best of your ability, so help you?
I do.
All right, you're all temporary deputy marshals acting under my orders. Now bunch the cattle in this way and start them through the fence as soon as I open the wire.
They won't need much starting, Marshal. They've been smelling that water for hours.
Now don't shoot unless you're fired on. If you are, protect yourselves and your herd. All right, let's go.
Hey, Gus! Keep those flankers closing them in toward the opening here. They crowd on that fence, they'll cut themselves to ribbons.
Right, boss. Over this way.
Chester, come here, man.
Yes?
You got the wire cutters?
Here you are, Mr. Dillon. You know, I think we got a fight on our hands.
Yeah, I guess. All right, keep me covered.
I'll watch the left over here.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Well, there's one strand.
Let's go to the fence, Mr. Howard.
All right, fire at the flash, Chester.
Yes, sir. Oh, my gracious, I wish there was a moon.
There's one more strand.
I spotted him.
And here's the last one. Now.
All right, boys, the fence is open. Bring them through.
Through, boys. Heads up, Chester. They won't give in this easy.
Yeah, you can hear them out there, but you can't see for the dust.
Yeah. Wind's coming up off that cloud. Oh, come on. Let's try to find Howard. I'm going to take him in for attempted murder.
Last time I heard him, he was down along the fence here, Summers.
All right, boys. Fire the flash.
What's it?
Look at them torches, Mr. Dillon. They're setting fire in the grass.
Yeah. As dry as it is, they'll set the whole prairie blazing. Jackson! Get your herd through the fence. They're trying to stampede it.
It'll take more than fire to turn those cattle away from water.
I guess you're right. Look, send as many as your boys as you can to help me. We got to get that fire stopped and fast.
I don't know, Mr. Dillon. I don't know if we're winning or losing.
Well, if that backfire holds that we're winning, Chester. Otherwise...
Couldn't have been a worse time. The prairie's dry as gunpowder.
Well, at least the herd's safe. They wouldn't leave that pond if the whole world caught fire.
Any orders for the boys, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, just have them keep working along the edge of the backfire pick us. Beat out any sparks that get across.
Right, Marshal, I got you.
Have you seen anything of the Howard gang?
Oh, not a sign. I guess they figured they'd done all they could.
Yeah, maybe.
Mr. Dillon, I'd swear a storm's gonna break. I can halfway smell the rain.
I don't know about that, Chester. But it's doing one thing that won't help us.
What do you mean?
Look, the wind's shifting. Starting to drive those flames across the backfire.
Well, if it catches there again, it'll get clear away from us.
Yeah, it sure will. Now, come on. Let's grab some of the boys and start working behind it.
Yes, sir.
Go, Dillon. Well, Fenton, I figure you'd be halfway to the Mexican border by now.
Well, you figured wrong. You keep your hands still, both of you. One move and it's your last move.
That's about the way you planned it anyway, isn't it?
You wiped us out, Dillon. That backfire of yours took the ranch house and the barn. Nothing for us to do now but trick. Only first somebody...
Hit the dirt, Chester. Fenton, drop the gun. You're under arrest.
I'll drop it, you dirty... Dillon,
Well, you warned him, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter much now. Look, Chester.
Yes, sir. It's jumped the backfire. With that wind driving it, it'll burn the whole prairie from here clear to the river.
And Dodge City along with it. Not a way in the world of stopping it either.
The shot, Marshal. You all right?
I'm sick at my stomach, that's all. Dodge City's gonna burn, Jackson, and there's nothing we can do.
I sure didn't figure on this. I let him have the herd, gladly.
No, it's my fault. I should have jumped him first.
A man does what he has to, Marshal. I don't think that's your way.
Well, maybe my way's the wrong way. When it leads to burning 10,000 acres of prairie in a whole town, there must be something wrong.
Mr. Dillon.
What is it, Chester?
I told you I could smell it.
Smell what? What the devil is... Rain!
Yes, sir.
By heavens, it's starting to rain!
By heaven may be the right expression.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know it's the only thing that can save Dodge. Well, come on, rain! Faster! Cut loose and rain, will you?
What you doing in this, Mr. Dillon? Look at it. He's down on that fire.
Right. Chester, you know, out here on the frontier sometimes, when a thing like this happens, it makes you wonder if maybe... Well, I don't know. Come on, Chester, let's find our horses.
It's sure not letting up any, Mr. Dillon.
No. We're still quite a ways from town. Let's swing over along the bluff, Chester, and find a place to wait it out for a while, huh?
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
Come on.
Well, it took a long time to break loose, but it's sure making up for luck. Wow! I never saw lightning this big before.
Usually lets up once the rain starts. I guess it's just a freak storm anyway. Off your horse, Chester, flat on the ground.
I saw a flash, Mr. Dillon. It come from that lone cottonwood tree.
Yeah. It's a bad spot. He's got cover and we haven't. Well, I guess we found out what happened to Mr. Howard. All right, Howard. Come on with your hands up. You're under arrest.
Why don't you call it yet, Dillon?
We're going to flip a shot at the tree, Chester. Roll away as soon as I fire. Yes. All right.
Ah, Dillon! You're not smart enough!
That was close. There's enough light for him to see. He's got all the odds. If he keeps it up, he'll get us sure.
Maybe we might just well rush him, Mr. Dillon. We haven't got much to lose.
That's an outside chance, Chester. And he's bound to get one of us.
Yeah, but this way it's both.
Yeah, I know. All right. We'll go in on the count of 3. Fan out and move fast.
Yes, sir.
And, good luck, Chester.
Same to you, Mr. Dillon.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Mr. Dillon, what happened?
It was lightning. Struck the tree. I think Howard's lying over there on the ground. Come on. Yeah. He's down, all right.
He said he'd be struck dead before he'd ever give in. Well, he was.
By heaven, I don't know. The second time tonight. You know, Chester, I think I'm going to change my ways.
Gunsmoke, transcribed under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell and Lou Krugman, with Joe Duvall, Barney Phillips, and Georgia Ellis. Parley Bear as Chester and Howard McNear as Doc. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Where there's crime afoot, look for gangbusters. Tonight, listen for CBS Radio's Gangbusters.
Those 3 beautiful stars all use Lux toilet soap regularly. You know what a forthright person Joan Blondell is.
Yes?
Well, when I asked her about her complexion care, she said, "A Lux girl? You bet I am. Active lather facials really work for me."
Lux Soap Beauty Facials do make skin lovelier, all right. Skin specialists proved it. In 3 out of 4 cases, daily Lux Soap care made skin softer, smoother.
The fact that so many famous stars recommend Lux toilet soap shows how right it is for delicate skin.
Now, there's a beauty counsel for lovely ladies everywhere. Why not make fragrant white Lux toilet soap your daily beauty soap? Remember, it's Hollywood's own complexion care. The choice of 9 out of 10 lovely stars.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Hey. Over here.
One of the boys said you wanted to see me.
Yeah.
But that'd be important, mister. I don't make a habit of coming round with some saddle punk whistles.
Maybe you hadn't ought to make a habit of calling people saddle punks.
No offense, just an expression.
Sure. I came up from the Pecos country. Been here in Dodge about a week. Maybe you've seen me around.
I've seen you.
I've been talking to people.
Oh?
Everybody tells me you were a big shot back in Abilene. You had all the games sewed up, 3 or 4 saloons paying off, a couple of hotels and so on. Then the boom busted and you come here, and you got nowhere. Know why?
You're talking. You tell me why.
Dillon. Fellow named Matt Dillon, a U.S. Marshal. You tried to scare him, and he wouldn't scare. Tried to buy him, and he wouldn't buy. Tried breaking him, wouldn't break.
So?
Be worth $5,000 to you if I kill him?
Mike?
All right, get it in gold. Keep it handy. My hard?
Yeah, you're hired.
Chester, I know you've been sick and you still got a cold, but is there anything else wrong?
What do you mean, Mr. Dillon?
Well, you haven't said 3 words in the last 20 minutes. That's not like you.
Well, Mr. Dillon, did you ever get a funny feeling somebody was keeping an eye on you?
Well, yeah, but...
Well, I got one right now.
Chester, I think you got a touch of the heebie-jeebies.
Maybe. But I tell you, I know there's
Well, as far as I can see, there's nobody in the whole place even paying any attention to us.
Somebody is. I had the same feeling the day the Butler brothers come back from Santa Fe.
Yeah?
I didn't even know they was in town, but I knew somebody was getting ready to call us. And about 6 that evening, they made their play, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
I was one of the pallbearers the next day. Well, it's the same thing now. There's going to be trouble, Mr. Dillon. You can bet on it.
I think you got the wind up over nothing, Chester. Why, the town's never been quieter. Jail's been empty for 2 weeks. Only new faces around is that bunch of trail drivers that came up from the Pecos. They're all strangers. None of them got any reason to hold a grudge.
Oh, there you be.
What?
I've been looking all over for you, Marshal.
Oh, hiya, Billy.
Waited over to the jail for nigh on to an hour. I've got to talk to you, Mr. Dillon.
I'm sorry, Billy, but every time I give you money, you buy yourself a bottle and then stay blind drunk for 2 days.
It ain't money this time, Mr. Dillon. I got something to tell you.
Oh? What?
Something I hear. There's a couple fellers talking over to the liver stable. They didn't see me. I was back at the water trough. Sort of, well, resting, you might say.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you know how it is, Mr. Dillon. The man gets dry in this prairie country, and he just
What were they talking about, Billy?
About you. One of them offered to kill you for $5,000 in gold, and the other and took him up on it. There, what did I tell you?
Who were they, Billy? Do you know them?
No, sir. It was dark, and I didn't recognize their voices. They was already there when I woke up, and they left right after that.
Well, maybe it was just some kind of a joke.
Oh, it didn't sound that way to me.
No, sir, it's no joke, Mr. Dillon. I told you I felt it. There's somebody in this room right now, somebody who's been hired to kill you.
Yeah, but who?
I don't know. Can you figure who'd want to do such a thing, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, I can figure a dozen or two, Chester.
Well,
Chester, look, as far as Dodge City is concerned, I'm the law. And there are plenty of men here who'd think they'd do better without any law. Guess it's nothing personal.
You know, personal or not, it's got me jumping sideways up my own shadow.
Oh, here we are. Come on.
Well, morning, Marshal. Haven't seen you since the robbery last month.
Attempted robbery, Mr. Greeley.
Yeah, so it was, thanks to you. Well, Mr. Dillon, the bank's at your service. What can I do for you?
Give me some information, if you will.
Well, if it isn't confidential.
It is, but I want it anyway.
Well, hard to know what to say. Perhaps you'd better step into my office. This way, gentlemen.
Thank you.
After you, Mr. Greeley.
Now, just what was it you wanted to know?
I want to know whether one of your customers has drawn $5,000 in gold from the bank in the last few days.
Any particular person in mind?
No, that's what I want to find out.
Well, I hope this won't go any farther, Marshal.
So somebody did, huh? Who was it, Mr. Greeley?
I certainly wish to make it clear that I don't approve of this man, but after all, he is a good customer. And it's not my fault.
Yeah, I know. Who was it?
Lawson Hale.
Lawson Hale?
Yeah, he took the gold out just this morning, as a matter of fact. Said he was working on a cattle deal of some sort.
Yeah, figures all right. Hale's tried to move in on this town ever since he came here. Every time he's tried, I've stopped him.
I do hope you'll regard this as confidential.
Yeah, sure. Well, Chester, we know who one of them is now.
Yeah, but who's the other, Mr. Dillon? The one who's actually going to do it.
Some punk who wants $5,000 real bad and doesn't care how much he has to do to get it.
That sure doesn't narrow it down any.
Yeah, I know.
Sure quiet tonight, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah?
Not many people out.
No, not many.
The moon is throwing quite a bit of light.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Kindly makes a target out of a man.
Yeah, kind of.
If somebody was out to shoot somebody, this would sure be a good night for somebody to do it.
I suppose so.
Mr. Dillon. Do you mind if I make a comment?
Well, I thought that's what you were doing, Chester.
Let's go on back to the jail and stay off the streets. This way you're just asking for it.
Chester, if it's going to come, it's going to come. I'd rather meet it halfway than to sit and wait for it.
Asking for it, that's what you're doing.
It's been 2 days now. It gets on your nerves. When you go out to bring a man in, you know you may have trouble and you're ready for it. But this way, and not knowing who or when or where or...
Yes, sir, I understand, Mr. Dillon. It kindly bothers a man.
Yeah. Let's walk down the Texas Trail.
Good to see you, man. You've been avoiding us the last couple of days.
Busy, Kitty.
Something bothering you, man?
Bothering me?
Yeah.
Whatever gave you an idea like that?
Mr. Dillon?
What is it, Chester?
Lawson Hale just come in down the bar there.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you ought to have a talk with him.
Well, that's one way.
That's the one I haven't tried yet. Excuse us, will you please, Kitty?
Well, sure, man. Whatever it is, be careful.
That lane was wide open. Yeah. I had it right in the palm of my hand.
Yes, sir.
The minute the trail driver hit town, the boys would grab their pay and they'd head straight.
Something I can do for you? Yeah, I want to talk to you, Mr. Hale. Well, I don't see anything stopping you. We'll move down the bar a ways if you don't mind. It's kind of private.
Sorry, Marshal. I'm fine right here.
I said we'll move down the bar.
If it's that important. Pardon me, boys. The marshal's all head up about it.
Oh, sure.
Far enough?
Yeah, this is far enough. Lawson, I understand you've hired yourself a gunman. Sent him out to get me. Offered him $5,000 in gold.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dillon.
Wouldn't care to tell me his name.
No, I don't think so. You see, I don't know anything about it.
What's he waiting for? He's had 2 days now, and he hasn't made a move.
Like I said, Dillon.
Why don't you do the job, Hale? You're wearing a gun. Maybe save yourself some money.
I've got no quarrel with you.
You mean you're yellow? Scared to call your own play.
I said
You're a weaseling, no-good coward, Hale.
I'll let it ride for the time being.
Yeah, I thought you would. Come on, Chester.
Yes, sir.
Let's go get some fresh air.
Well, I guess he's just not the kind to take chances, Mr. Dillon.
And not when he's got a hired killer out prowling somewhere. Chester, I'm going to run him out of Dodge if it's the last thing I ever do.
Dodge can stand it.
I only knew who he'd hired. Then I could force the play myself. This blasted business of having to leave it up to the other man. Waiting there.
Over there by the stable.
Yeah, I saw the flash.
Maybe you got him, Mr. Dillon.
I don't know. Let's move in and find out.
Yes, sir.
Watch yourself, Chester. You may be playing possum.
Yes, sir. The flash was right here by the corner.
Yeah. Well, that's that.
Looks like he got away, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, he's gone.
Took one shot and then ran for cover.
He'll be back.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, every Sunday afternoon, Robert Trout with the World News brings you up to the minute on CBS Radio. A special feature on this program every Sunday is a flying visit from one of our noted overseas news correspondents. Remember, tomorrow, for well-rounded views of the news at home and everywhere, don't miss Robert Trout with the news of the world on most of these same CBS radio stations. And now for the second act of Gunsmoke.
Goodness, my cold sure know better tonight, Mr. Dillon. My, that fire sure feels good. Yes, sir, the old jail seems kind of cozy when a man's ailing like I am. Anyway, it's sure a lot better than prowling those streets waiting for somebody to put a bullet in the back of your neck.
Will you stop squeaking the chair?
Well, sorry, Mr. Dillon. Yell at me like that soon as I'm feeling.
2 more days gone by and he hasn't been on a move.
Yes, sir. That cottonwood sure burns up fast. I guess I better shake down the stove, throw another chunk of wood.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Wait a minute. There might be a way at that, Chester. Lawson Hale. That's the only fact we're sure of. Lawson Hale.
It'd be kind of hard to prove anything, Mr. Dillon.
Who said anything about proving it? I got an idea. Come on.
Which one will we try first, Mr. Dillon?
The Texas Trail, I guess. He'll either be there or at the Longhorn.
All right, Mr. Dillon. What's going to do?
Gonna arrest him, since he won't fight. We saw him back down the other night.
Yes, but you got no evidence. Mr. Dillon, you can't make it stick.
I don't intend to, Chester.
Well, then I don't see what...
What I can do is scare him. And if I figure him right, I think he's gonna scare easy.
Maybe so, but all the
Ah,
same...
look. Look, there he is, Chester. Just came out of the Longhorn.
Couple of fellows with him, Mr. Dillon. You don't suppose one of them could be...
No, they're hanging around for the free drinks. There's not an ounce of nerve in the 3 dozen of them. Come on, let's take him.
Yes, sir.
The whole herd?
Hale? Yeah? Hold it just right where you are.
What seems to be the trouble now, Marshal?
No trouble. Unless you want to make some. You're under arrest.
What for?
I'll think of something later. Stick out your hands.
Whoa. You're taking me in without even making a charge? I'll remind you there's witnesses here.
Yeah, so I noticed. When they're not hanging around you, they're around somebody else. What have you done, Hale? Hired them, too?
I asked you what the charge was, Marshal.
Vagrancy.
Vagrancy?
As far as I know, you've never had any visible means of support as long as you've been a Dodge.
I'll match any dollar of yours with 100 better ones.
Well, that's fine. That'll help pass the time. Now, stick out your hands.
Oh, look here, Marshal.
Shut up.
Think you...
All right, Chester, put the cuffs on him.
Yes, sir. All right, hold still now.
What? Dillon, I'll break you for this.
It's been tried before. All right, boys, break it up. The party's over. You've had your last drink out of this pump. All right, you, let's go to jail. Keep walking, Hale. It's the last cell on the left.
I'll break you, Dillon. So help me.
Well, you've been trying it for a year. I'm still around.
But you won't be after this. I'll take this up and...
Hold up. Wait till Chester gets the door unlocked.
Haven't used this cell for so long, I've almost forgot which keys is... There we are.
Vagrancy. I'm living in the best room in the commercial house.
Inside, Hale. Now go on, move. Now stick your hands up. You won't need those cuffs in here. All right. Make yourself at home. Shut the door, Chester.
Dillon, you've got nothing to hold me on. I'll be out of here by tomorrow noon.
Oh, I doubt that. In fact, there's a pretty good chance you'll never get out of that cell. Not alive, at least.
What are you talking about? According to the law, I've got a right.
The law, huh? You've broken it every chance you've got. Tried to break the men who serve it, like you've tried to do with me, for instance. But when your own neck gets caught, you start hiding behind the law.
Nevertheless,
all right,
law...
fine. Right now, the law out here is kind of sketchy. Some things it covers, some things it doesn't. Well, that's where I come in. Now, this little affair between you and me is one of the things the law doesn't quite cover. So I'm going to run it my way.
That kind of talk won't help you any, Dillon.
You hired a man to kill me. Offered him $5,000 to get me out of the way.
You can't prove that.
He's made one try and he's missed. He's still around Dodge. Somewhere waiting, and he's going to try again. But I don't know who he is. So all the odds are with him.
That is your problem, Dillon, not mine. I don't know anything about that.
You know what'll happen, though, if he does get me. The first thing Chester's going to do is come straight back here to the jail and pump a couple of bullets through these bars here.
Huh?
Your boy may kill me, Hale, but you're not going to live to profit by it.
Oh, he wouldn't do it. Shoot down a helpless... Oh, neither one of you would do it.
Chester and I have been friends for a long time. Why don't you ask him whether he'd do it or not?
No question about it, Mr. Dillon. Of course I'd do it.
Oh, no, you wouldn't.
Well, you hired somebody to shoot Mr. Dillon in the back. I don't see where you got any kick coming.
Well, there's your answer, Mr. Hale. That's why I arrested you. Come on, Chester. Let's go look the town over.
Well, no, it's tonight that he's going.
Who's gonna do what?
I don't know, Marshal. I don't know anything about him.
Oh, that's too bad. If I knew his name, I'd have a lot better chance, you know. So would you. Well, we'll see you later, Hale. Or anyway, Chester will.
No, Dillon, you can't do it. Don't go up. He'll get you, sure. Dillon, no, wait. I'll tell you his name.
All right.
He's a trail driver. He came up from the Pecos last week. I doubt if you know him. His name is Ed Granger.
Ed Granger?
Yeah, I've seen him around the bars. Dark-haired, surly-looking, scar across his cheek.
That's him. Of course, I'll deny all of this in court, you understand?
Yeah, sure, I understand. Come on, Chester, let's go get him.
Look, he's here all right, Mr. Dillon. Over there by the pine.
Yeah, looks like he's by himself.
What you gonna do? Arrest him?
Well, there's no evidence, Chester. The only way I see is to make it personal. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want you to stay out of it, Chester. Just cover me, that's all.
Whatever you say, Mr. Dillon.
Your name, Ed Granger?
Might be.
What about it? You know who I am, don't you?
Judging by the stars, reckon you're a U.S. Marshal.
You ought to do better than that. After all, I'm worth $5,000 to you.
Yes, sure. Who says so?
Lawson Hale.
What?
Your memory's getting better, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about, Marshal.
Sure you do. That deal you made with Hale. He told me all about it after I threw him in jail and persuaded him a little bit.
I told you, I don't know anything.
You're wearing a gun there, Granger. Why don't you draw it and go for $5,000? Take a chance.
This fella you're talking about's in jail. I reckon he wouldn't have anybody working for him now, would he?
You tell me.
I got no reason to draw on you, Marshal.
Not unless my back's turned. I think you're as yellow as Hale is.
This won't do you any good. I ain't drawing.
You tried to kill me night before last, Granger.
Can you prove that?
If I could, you'd either be in jail or you'd be dead.
Well, since you can't prove it, what's the argument?
Just that I don't like the idea of somebody trying to shoot me in the back. If you're any man at all, we'll settle this here and now.
Now, leave me alone, Marshal. I haven't done anything.
Now, you still figure you got no reason to draw on me?
No reason. I ain't drawing.
You got 10 minutes to get out of town. And when you're out, stay out. Don't come back now or ever. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You can start right now.
Must be nearly midnight, Mr. Dillon.
Yeah, about that, I guess, Chester.
My, this is sure one day I'm glad is over.
Yeah, so am I. At least I can breathe a little easier now.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll get this fire built up a little bit, Mr. Dillon.
No, leave it, Chester. Let's go take care of our prisoner first, huh?
Hey, we still haven't got any evidence. What are we going to do about him?
Same as with Granger. Turn him loose and run him out of town. We should have done it months ago. You got the keys?
Yes, sir. Right here, Monk. Mr. Dillon?
Huh? What are you looking at? Granger must have stopped by here on his way out of town.
He must have got Hale over at the window for a talk and then grabbed him and cut his throat right there.
Yeah. Figured Hale had sold him out, I guess. Got a bulletin on the wire, Chester. Wanted for murder, Ed Granger.
All right, sir, Mr. Dillon.
I guess Hale got pretty much what he bargained for. He hired himself a killer in order to kill him. He got it.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Les Crutchfield, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were Harry Bartell, Lawrence Dobkin, Jack Crucian, and Ralph Moody. Parley Bear is Chester, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke is heard by our troops overseas through the facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Like Old Man River, the comedy just keeps rolling along every Sunday night when CBS Radio presents Amos and Andy. Tomorrow night, over most of these same CBS radio stations, the Kingfish is sure to be up to his usual monkey business. And it's sure to make a monkey out of gullible Andy Brown. Listen for yourself. Don't let one single minute of the fun get away. Tomorrow and every Sunday night, it's Amos and Andy on CBS Radio. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy open fire on your funny bone every Sunday night on the CBS Radio Network.
Join Dan McCullough and his pal Eddie.
Say, Dan, I've got an idea.
Yeah?
You remember the old game where I think of something and then you ask me questions and guess what it is?
Sure, Eddie. Why?
Well, let's play that game. Only let's make it about those insignia and warplane buttons I'm collecting. The ones from packages of Kellogg's Pep.
Okay. You want to start?
All right. I'm thinking of something that's red and blue and yellow and black and white.
Oh, that's one of those insignia buttons, all right, with all those colors. Let's see. Is it a picture of a bird?
No.
A bomb?
No.
An animal?
Well, yeah, an animal.
Well, that gives me something to start on. Now, is it one of the second series of buttons?
Right.
Let's see, an animal. Is it a bear?
Nope.
Hey, this is getting tough. A dog?
Guess again.
I know. A tiger.
Oh, you guessed it. But I'll bet you can't tell me which squadron that insignia belongs to.
Oh, that's easy, Eddie. It's Marine Fighter Squadron VMF 224. And like the other buttons in this swell second series, it's a honey. Clear, brilliant colors, sharp outlines, why, you can even see the tough expression in the tiger's eyes. And the rings around his tail. He's all dressed up, too, with a cap and a sweat jersey and boxing gloves. Yes, sir, these insignia buttons are just about the classiest looking things you ever saw. And they're so easy to get. You don't send in any money, not even a box top. And you can't buy them anywhere. You just make sure Mother gets you a package of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal, Kellogg's Pep. Then, inside you'll find a prize, an exciting insignia or warplane button. there's a button in every package, and it's a prize for you from P.E.P. Pet, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Next time it's too rainy for you to be out of doors, here's an idea for what to do. Get out your collection of insignia and warplane buttons from packages of Kellogg's Pet, and see how close you are to having all the buttons in both the first and the second series. Why, you'll probably make up your mind to eat more of that super delicious whole wheat flake cereal so you can get more prizes. Then you might see how many of those insignia you can identify, like Marine Bombing Squadron 433, for example. You can remember that with a red dragon with two tails, riding a bomb and firing a machine gun. By the time you get through, you'll be mighty proud of your collection, believe me. Because, you see, these buttons really are smart-looking. The colors are clear and bright and sharp, really stand out against the sparkling white background. And they're made of metal, so they'll last indefinitely. Now, if anyone should ask you how you got those swell buttons, tell them it's easy. You don't send in a single penny. No, sir, not even a box stop. And you don't buy them. You just ask Mom to get a package or two of Kellogg's Pet. Then look inside for your exciting prize, a brilliant insignia or warplane button. There's a button in every package of P.E.P. Pet, made by Kellogg's of Battle Creek.